Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to today's International Affairs, broadcasting live from Dhaka's Gulshan studio. Of course, today is 25th December, which is also celebrated as Christmas all over the globe. But before I get into the conversation today, I want to introduce Norman Floyd Barnes, who shall be joining us from Washington, D.C. as our SATV's geopolitical correspondent. Before I begin, I should let him know that a very big event is happening here in Dhaka, Bangladesh. We have a BNP, which is Bangladesh Nationalist Party's acting chairman Tariq Rahman. Today is accorded warm welcome, reception and emotional greetings at Hazrat Shah Jalal International Airport. And of course, he is coming in from London after spending almost 18 years in a political asylum. But there is more on to this regards in the program later on. But I want to begin with Norman Floyd Barnes, how he is feeling on Christmas Day. What are the updates inside the American politics? Mr. Norman Floyd Barnes, how are you doing today? And of course, a Merry Christmas.
Yes, Merry Christmas from Washington, D.C. Here on the East Coast, everybody's, most people are home with their families. The government is shut down. We like to characterize this as a day of peace and goodwill, and people are resting and reflecting on the last year's events and hopefully praying for good health and the opportunity to launch a new year with better results. So right now, I'm at home, and I think basically we mostly are praying for relief for next year. Hopefully, we can come to peace terms, and people start to do the right thing instead of the thing what they feel, and we pray for peace.
Thank you, Mr. Norman Floyd Barnes. Before I begin with the topic of Bangladesh, I want to bring out one of the international topics that has taken to the storm. I'm pretty sure that you have been looking towards what has happened. We know that a Libyan aircraft had gone down in Turkey, and what we know is that from that wreckage, a black box has been recovered. And of course, we still do not know how many casualties are going on, but this does take to the news storm widely online and across the international news media coverages. I want to ask Mr. Norman Floyd Barnes, this is not the first time such an event had happened before. We've seen when Ibrahim Raisi was on his plane that had crashed in around that country. And so this is not something new, but this is something that is of huge importance as it killed the Libyan army chief. Mr. Norman Floyd Barnes, I want to understand how you felt about this.
Yes, this is another unfortunate air tragedy. These type of air tragedies appears to be on the increase. Like you said, right now we don't know anything until the investigations come back. The black box has been covered, and hopefully some of the information comes from there will give us some light on what's happening. But it's again another unfortunate air tragedy, and we are basically monitoring and see what's going on, and hopefully there'll be a conclusion to this, and maybe a cause. We don't know.
Well, thank you, Mr. Norman Floyd Barnes. Of course, in the studio today, I'm not joined by any guest or any panelist. So today, the main important factor here in Dhaka's Bangladesh does include the arrival of Tariq Rahman. He's, of course, the son of a late President Zia Rahman, and also three-time Prime Minister Begum Khaleda Zia, who's, of course, at Evercare. Some of the planned processions that are going on today, he landed at Hazrat Shah Jalal International Airport, and one of the very first things that he did was he took out his shoe and he stood on the soil of his motherland. So it's quite important because for almost 18 years he has been in political asylum in United Kingdom, in London, as far as we know. And I just want to ask you how you felt about it, because a leader had finally come back home after 18 years. I want to understand how you felt about this issue.
Yes, thank you for the question. This is a very historical moment for Bangladesh. As we move into a new year, particularly, we're talking today is Christmas, uh, to have such an event occur means that the people, and you can tell by the response that the people are very receptive to having this leader come back home. 18 years is a long time. Uh, uh, the world has changed. Obviously, the circumstances in Bangladesh has changed. You have an election coming up, hopefully in February, and hopefully the people will come out, voice their opinions, get to the polls, and elect a new leader, because your country deserves nothing less than that. So let's pray that everybody stays civil, they communicate their feelings, but violence is absent. Stay absent from this process and let the due process go and let Bangladesh rise.
Of course, we know there are certain updates regarding his homecoming as well in the capital city of Dhaka in the 36 July expressway. In the city, we've seen millions of people gathering as waiting there for their leader to arrive. And we know that he had stayed in London for almost 17 to 18 years in exile. And today he'll be briefing the masses just by himself. No other person is actually going to keep a speech. It's only him that will be addressing the nation. Of course, afterwards he'd be meeting the three-time Prime Minister Begum Khaleda Zia at Evercare Hospital, of course, who is ailing and of course who has health complications, and ever since we know that she has been on intensive care unit treatment over there. So of course the entire nation has been waiting to see whether this meeting between son and mother after so many years is a spectacle for the people here at home. But there are events that are going on the sidelines as well. The youth section of the party of Bangladesh Nationalist Party is of course gathering together at 300 feet road in order to understand how this leader will now tackle this. Of course, he will be paying his respects to the national martyrs who have caused the independence of Bangladesh, as well as Mr. Shahid Sharif Osman Hadi, who had died from a bullet wound just a couple of days ago. So of course he is paying his respects to the people who have done for this country in his absence. I want to let our viewers know that we are going to some kind of a live program being held at 300 feet road, as according to the production team. We can see that the people are eagerly awaiting his arrival, and he is being escorted with almost over 100,000 people being stationed at there. The special security forces of all the three armed forces are there making sure that he is protected and safe. And of course there is immense communal gathering there. We all understand that Mr. Tariq Rahman has been long awaited to expect to come to Bangladesh. There are certain factors that I really do want to pick out from his legacy of he's now 60, but he has led Bangladesh earlier on, and during the infamous 111 government we've seen the remand of Mr. Tariq Rahman, and ever since then he has been left in such a condition that he had to go abroad, seek medical attention, and then of course he has been in asylum ever since then. However, there are certain things that I would want to pick out, which include his change of leadership, the humanistic factors, the points that he has not left Bangladesh's policy making. Even by staying in United Kingdom, he had addressed the nation through various means, which include coming through Zoom. Some people online say that he is the pioneer of working from home. But however, coming back to the serious issue, that Mr. Tariq Rahman has definitely missed his homeland, missed his country. And one of the things that he first initially did as landing in the VIP terminal, he had stepped on the soil of his motherland. And as we can see, the thousands of people are waiting to hear how he addresses the nation. So once again, and today is of course a public holiday, so it gives a tit-for-tat kind of reaction between the two elements here. However, I believe that he has exposure, the exposure in United Kingdom has made him a fantastic leader, one that we are waiting to see for the upcoming elections. And of course, in about a day or two, he shall be submitting his nomination to the Election Commission for the Bogura seat, a seat that is historically belonging to the BNP. Of course, at this moment, we are all trying to be connected in 300 feet road, 36 July Expressway. Of course, this is the first event that has been happening in this location. Previously, we have not seen any other event that is happening on. I believe that production will be soon going into the voice of Tariq Rahman. But I want to come to Norman Floyd Barnes. Today, historical event is happening. I know there is someone in America's history that had garnered such a similar kind of crowd. Of course, Martin Luther King Jr., I'm of course talking about him, who had said, "I had a dream," and that had taken to history, and ever since then people have been quoting this legendary revolutionary leader and of course philanthropist. I want to get the take of Norman Floyd Barnes. Today a similar event is happening in Bangladesh. I want to know how you felt.
Yes, I'm pleased that you mentioned Dr. King. When we spoke about this historical event today, I immediately went to Dr. King and his speech he made in Washington, D.C. at the steps of the Lincoln Memorial. This is a very historical time. My suggestion is that every person in Bangladesh, every person in the world, take this time to sit back and listen and watch and observe the passion of the people and see how this thing is evolving. Right now, we are witnessing history. We're looking at a rebirth of a nation, a chance, another chance, mankind to do it right. This sets the standard, the stage for a new world. Bangladesh is right now is in the public eye. The world is watching, and how the people engage, respond, and continue to today's events will determine the future of Bangladesh, I believe, South Asia, and the rest of the world. So let's take this time and observe and watch the people and just absorb this. This is a historical time. We're going to be talking about this probably years from now, this date. Certain points of days, like Dr. King's speech, Dr. King's presence, we can remember the people who was around. I was around. I was a young kid. We still talking about this. So today is another event like that. So once again, let's slow down, get with the families, and just observe and watch and engage in this process, because I believe Bangladesh is on the rise. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Norman Floyd Barnes. I know that this current government had come to the place to initiate reform and outline a structural reform for Bangladesh, and there is a 31-point outline for structural reforms in Bangladesh according to the Bangladesh Nationalist Party. And of course, the slogan that they're bearing is "Our leader is coming home." And that's the slogan across various placards across the city, as thousands of party activists are now awaiting Mr. Tariq Rahman's speech to be held at 36 July Expressway. But of course, I was not ready to take this seat today, but I do have to speak from some kind of history. We know that this is one of the most popular parties in Bangladesh. Of course, the ousted regime had made sure this party did not flourish in the last 18 or so years. And of course, that there is political issues stemming back multiple years from the past. However, there are some issues that this party has got out for the benefit of the people, and one of those that include free public Wi-Fi, so access to internet for people across North Bengal, which is an initiative the BNP has taken. And of course, I believe this is another step forward to a country that is far more dependent on digital infrastructure. But in the recent times, we have seen some kind of hatred relationship going on with our neighbor. And you know, the Kremlin had said to not forget what had happened in 1971. So all of this that are happening in recent times, the shooting, the murder of Sharif Osman bin Hadi, the leader who had enormous contribution to the July uprising that had ousted Sheikh Hasina, the ex-prime minister. And of course, today we are in a very not untoward situation with our neighbor India. So of course, these are the issues that have taken to the big screens in Bangladesh as of recent. I want to ask Norman Floyd Barnes, who is joining us from Washington. You know, in South Asia, family dynasty politics is quite important. So of course, we are seeing here today, some call father of the nation's daughter Sheikh Hasina, and then we also have President Zia Rahman and his son Tariq Rahman, who is hailing into Bangladesh today. So all of this is included under a political dynasty or a family politics. Of course, it's different in South Asia than compared to the US politics, where we have you know, a Congress, we have the Republican Party, and we of course have the Democrat Party. And it's not always that we see that political heavyweights and their offspring coming into power. I just want to understand how you felt about it, because people here in the country do look forward to a leader like Tariq Rahman, who's of course back into the country after 18 years. I want to understand how you felt about, you know, family politics in policy making of, or in running of a nation such as Bangladesh.
Thank you again. I'm very pleased to be able to witness this transformation. Apparently, something is happening. Yes, it's historical, but basically, in times of despair, trouble, and whatever, and when things appear to be at the worst, there's always something or someone that comes and rises to this occasion. We have to understand and embrace that. This, I believe, is an opportunity for the people of Bangladesh to basically discover their identity, find out who they are and what they want, and make conscious decisions about the future. The future is dependent on the people's response and how they want to be governed. The people have that chance. Bangladesh has a unique opportunity right now, in light of all the issues, the conflicts, the murders, the oppression. Now, today, there's an opportunity to do a reset, a recharge, and regardless. And the issue is, the point is, now you have the world watching. The world is watching to see how Bangladesh responds. What do they do? How do the people receive this son of Bangladesh back? And what do they do in response to that? Do they embrace? Do they reject? Do they take this?
No audio. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I believe that the screens are showing that the leader, Tariq Rahman, is going to be addressing the nation. But before on, I want to let our viewers know that we were talking about the political scene here in Bangladesh as we await the general election or the national elections, as well as a popular referendum that is coming up on February 12th. Of course, there is a strict competition between almost every political party. We've got the National Citizens Party. We also have a Jamaat Islami, Islamic party that's based on the Sharia law, and of course, the Bangladesh Nationalist Party, who's going to be contesting in the upcoming elections. As far as I know, that the screens are showing millions of people standing and awaiting their leader's speech, which we will dissect and analyze how he addresses the nation. Of course, there is some kind of tensions between our neighbor. One is hosting the ex-fugitive Prime Minister who is accused of one count of murder. And of course, we know last month we've had a very popular International Crimes Tribunal verdict regarding her role in the July massacre, I would call it, or a July genocide that has taken to Bangladesh. But as far as I know, right now, we are all waiting to hear Tariq Rahman and his voices, his words for the nation. And we, of course, have to absorb what he is going to target. There are a lot of problems in a nation like Bangladesh, as far as I know. And of course, the question of sovereignty is always coming back. Ever since July of 2024, we know that the country has gone through a very difficult time. At this moment, we see there's a high tensions between the government of India and also the government of Bangladesh. There's protesters who have gone to the Bangladesh High Commission in New Delhi in protest of a dignified or a very scary killing of Mr. Dipu Das here in Bangladesh, not so far away from Indian territory. And that is what they use as a significant event to make sure they can, of course, show their aggression toward Bangladesh. Today, I want to repeat what Shahid Sharif Osman bin Hadi had said in a very popular interview on Centrist Nation TV. He had said that we are not anti-India, but we are anti-aggression. So that is the statement, and ever since then he had been killed in action. So I want to come to Norman Floyd Burns. I repeated these words of this popular revolutionary, if I would call it. He's been looking, he's someone who is like Che Guevara in Bangladesh at this moment. So I want to come back. I repeated his words, and ever since then I have been emotional that he has been taken away from us in such manner. But this is the game of politics, and it's never really a good game that we see. I want to have a last question to Norman Floyd Burns. I was talking about the local issues here in Bangladesh. I wanted to understand how you felt, because the tensions are rising as the days are approaching the national elections that is upcoming.
Tensions are rising because change is here. There's always a difficult period of time when there's a dramatic shift in the way things are being ran, particularly the governments, the mentality of the people. There's people who want to maintain the status quo, but it appears that people are now ready to do what's necessary to make this change possible. There's a bright world out there. There's a place for Bangladesh out there. And so now is the time for people to engage, make real decisions, tell the government what they want, implement it, put the people they want in place, and engage where they should be in the right position in terms of South Asia and how the world is perceived by them, and how Bangladesh can be a contributor to the world economy, and also how we treat each other. We need to get back to humanity and start treating people like people, and things will resolve itself. So once again, we have a unique opportunity here. So I hope and wish on this Christmas Day that the people of Bangladesh take opportunity to show the world how to do it right.
Thank you, Mr. Norman. I am enjoying this in-depth analysis that me and you are sharing from across platforms and across continents. There is an issue that I will pick out. Donald Trump had exceeded his tariff package earlier on this year towards India as a matter because of the BRICS, understanding. And of course, his close proximity to the leader like Vladimir Putin. But today, the question here comes back to Bangladesh. We have been seeing certain aggression, certain aggressive elements coming out of India. And not only so, there is escalating tensions between the two neighborhoods as well. We understand that every now and then they refer to a location of North Bengal as the chicken's neck. And they, of course, want to dismantle that, disfigure Bangladesh. And of course, all of these issues are heavily important to a nation's success. But I will come back to all of these analyses, as also we know that in about 3 days there shall be a general election being held in another neighboring country, Myanmar. But before I come back to that discussion, we are going for a short break.
তোমার গরু হাঁস মুরগি মাছ তো অনশন শুরু কইরা দিছে।
কি কও অনশন শুরু কইরা দিছে
কেডা?
হাঁস মুরগি মাছ
আরে ওগো মতি গতি দেখা মনে হইতাছে এসএফি ছাড়া কিছুই খাইবো না।
হ্যাঁ গো এসএফিটার খবর ওরা জানলো কেমনে?
আরে ভালো জিনিসের খবর ছড়াতে কি আর মাইক লাগে? খবর ভাসে বাতাসে বাতাসে।
আরে দেখো এসএফিটার জাদু
সম্পূর্ণ নিজস্ব তত্ত্বাবধানে বিশেষজ্ঞদের সমন্বয়ে প্রস্তুত হয় এসএফিডের পশুখাদ্য। অত্যাধুনিক প্রযুক্তিতে তৈরি এই পশুখাদ্য যেমন নিরাপদ তেমনি স্বাস্থ্যকর। এসএফিড নিরাপদ ফিড, স্বাস্থ্যকর প্রোটিন। এসএ অ্যাগ্রোফিডস লিমিটেড একটি এসএ গ্রুপ অফ কোম্পানিজের প্রতিষ্ঠান।
Grand Palace, 5-star chain hotel, Zinda Bazaar, Sylhet. Local and international cuisines. Exclusive banquet hall for all events. 5-star luxurious rooms and suites with bulletproof glass. Fiberglass swimming pool. Relaxing spa. Well-equipped gym. Experience panoramic view.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to International Affairs. But however, we are talking about an international affair that concerns Bangladesh as in the South Asia region. And of course, we were talking with Norman Floyd Barnes joining us from Washington, D.C., all the way in United States of America. And before the break, I was talking about general elections and keeping those who shall govern us in the coming days, not just in my country, in Bangladesh, but as well as our neighbor in Myanmar. That is what I finished with. From 3 days from now, on the 28th of December 2025, the military junta has scheduled a controversial national election. This is the first nationwide election since the 2021 military coup in Myanmar. Of course, why I am talking about Myanmar today is because of the timing and, of course, the proximity and how close to them we are. And you know, there is an unresolved issue ever since 2018 of the Rohingya crisis. Over 1.6 million Rohingyas had taken refuge in Bangladesh ever since 2018 because of the atrocities committed on the Rakhine population and, of course, on the Muslim population that reside in that state. I want to come to Norman Floyd Barnes. You know, we are having a popular referendum and a national election on February 12th. The proximity and the timing of the two nations, the two neighbors, it is quite so important on a regional scale. And we know we are trying to make sure that Southeast Asia as a general, as a whole, and as well as Bangladesh, India, and this entire infrastructure which relates back to the Asian giant China, we need to understand how regional stability shall be met. I just wanted to take a few words from Norman Floyd Barnes on how he felt about this.
Yes. Again, we're living in very unique times. Bangladesh is in the process of starting a new government. Myanmar is in the process of trying to stabilize and again find its identity in terms of starting running their country. Bangladesh has a unique opportunity to take a leadership role, not a participation role, a leadership role, by setting the standard, a new standard, a higher standard on how we want to coexist. It will have a profound effect on Southeast Asia. For so many years, your government has been under the rule of one party. Now you have a unique opportunity to determine what you want and let the people now have their voices, their participation, their engagement. And this is something, a phenomenon that's going on all over the world, particularly in South Asia, the Southern Hemisphere, and you're going to see more of these situations. The youth, the young people, with the invention of AI and communications, people are now talking between each other. They are now sharing notes. They're now looking at situation in terms of human rights, what is right, what is wrong. And now the situation is that Bangladesh has opportunity to start on a new clean slate. Take that opportunity. Be wise, be patient, be calm, and make decisions that will allow you to position yourself in the world as a leader, not a participant. We don't want Bangladesh to be another one of them engaging country. We want to have a reason, a purpose. And so the youth is a very young country. You have a very young country. You have a lot of energy there. Put this energy into place. Think, observe, look at the lessons learned, and create a whole new environment. Bangladesh could be the center for this new renaissance.
I really love how you've ended your statement. I want to give our viewers and as well, Mr. Norman, an overview over the last couple of months. The political environment has grown increasingly unstable. Mob violence, attacks on journalists, and arson at two national dailies have raised alarms about law and order and also about press freedoms. Political analysts and even the Bangladesh Nationalist Party leaders now warn that Bangladesh is slipping into mobocracy, undermining hopes that the regime change would usher in stability and democratic renewal. We know that we should understand where the country is progressing onto, and this would be the first election that we will see an expatriate voting crowd, those who will be voting for Bangladesh's leadership from outside of Bangladesh, as well as almost 40% of the new voters who are actually youth of Bangladesh, who has caused the July uprising. Of course, right now we are seeing from exile to return a changed political landscape here in Bangladesh. I want to come to Norman Floyd Barnes. Really, this is not a question, but this is more of an analysis. You know, Bangladesh is going through a very difficult time. We all understand that. And, you know, as I mentioned, mobocracy, anything that goes against the people shall not be entertained, as far as I know. And, of course, there are some tragic incidences. A garment worker was recently beaten to death and put on fire. And we know that that issue has caused a safety issue across Bangladesh. And of course, some people do say that it is an unidentified incident that had happened. However, right now we are waiting for 25th December 2025 date, even have symmetry when you look at the calendar. So I want to understand from Norman Floyd Barnes that today on the 25th of December, there is huge political maneuvering that is happening here in Bangladesh. And what do you think, or when do you think that there could be a stable government that would understand the needs of the people? I know that, as you mentioned, artificial intelligence and immense technological breakthroughs are creating barriers between politicians as well as policymakers and the people. So all of these groups, all of these stakeholders must be recognized as the entire world is looking towards the national elections that is coming up. I want to understand before I can head off to another break. Mr. Norman Floyd Barnes.
Yes, we have to look at, as we look at the conditions and the circumstances, that now Bangladesh, matter of fact, the rest of the world, particularly in the global south, information that was once held and not given and provided to the people is now available. People are not stupid. They may not be rich, they may not have resources, but they do understand their circumstances. And their circumstances is the circumstances of mankind. It's happening in Bangladesh. It's happening in Arkansas. It's happening in Mississippi. It's happening in Virginia. It's happening in Puerto Rico, South America, Venezuela. Everywhere it's happening. People are now understanding that they have to make the change. They have to make the change in how they want to consider their quality of life. who we want to govern them. Because apparently, as we see in every situation, that the government is self-interest in themselves, mostly transactional, mostly the people we put in there, once they get in the office, they forget about the people. Time has to change. This information is consistent across the board. Decisions are being made for a few,
Right.
and the many is left out. The
Thank
many
you.
is left out. So let's pray and look at this situation as a new opportunity. We have an opening. There's a gap. Take full advantage of this and let the world know that enough is enough, and we are not going to continue this. This is something that is happening everywhere. In the United States, everywhere.
Right.
We have to.
Thank you so much, Mr. Norman Flood Barnes, who was talking to us regarding Bangladesh. I thank him for his participation here today on a historical day. Of course, ladies and gentlemen, we need to go for a short commercial break, but afterwards we will take you all to the 36 July Expressway for whatever that is happening there. Thank you.
Tea at SATV restaurant. Welcome to Grand Palace Hotel. Grand Palace Hotel and Resorts, Jollar Par, Zinda Bazar, Silet, Bangladesh.
বাংলাদেশে দীর্ঘ ৩৭ বছরের সাফল্যের অগ্রযাত্রায় এসএ পরিবহন পার্সেল অ্যান্ড কুরিয়ার সার্ভিস এখন আধুনিক ও শৈল্পিক স্থাপত্য শিল্পের দেশ মালয়েশিয়ার কুয়ালালামপুরে। লাখো গ্রাহকদের প্রয়োজনের দিক লক্ষ্য রেখে নিশ্চিত বিশ্বস্ততা ও আন্তর্জাতিক মানের সেবা এখন ডোর টু ডোর। এসএ পরিবহন কুরিয়ার অ্যান্ড পার্সেল সার্ভিস SDN BHT 120 Jalan HS Lee 50050 Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. এসএ পরিবহন পার্সেল অ্যান্ড কুরিয়ার সার্ভিস আপনার সেবায় সবসময়।
Explore the magnificent view of Rangpur. Five-star facilities, rich chain hotel, Grand Palace. Relax in spacious rooms and suites. Enjoy local and international cuisines. Banquet and conference room. Helipad. Gymnasium. Beauty salon. Restaurants and bar. Cafe lounge. Experience luxury at Grand Palace, Rangpur.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to International Affairs. I am actually facing a huge challenge today as I do not have any other panelist, if not anyone to discuss. However, I do want to present an overview of whatever that's happening here today in Dhaka's Bangladesh. And of course, today is of course Christmas, celebrated by those who are of the Christian faith. But here in Dhaka, the leader is coming home. A leader is referring to BNP's acting chairman, Mr. Tariq Rahman, who has landed here in Dhaka, and right now he is being waited, or he is traveling towards a stage set up at the capital's 300 feet. And of course, millions of people are there in support and in eagerly awaiting to hear how he will address the nation and what kind of statements he shall bring forward, what is his political agenda, and what kind of agenda does he see for a better Bangladesh, a better future for Bangladeshi people here. Of course, he will be representing almost 200 million people of the population, and of course we do have immense challenges not only in the north but in the south as well, with Myanmar, and to generalize as well with India. You know, recently we've seen how each other's high commissions have been called by the Ministry of Home Affairs in the respective countries. So there is tensions in our neighborhood, but at this moment we are waiting to see how millions of the BNP's followers are going to be greeting Mr. Tariq Rahman, who is expected to run in this upcoming election from the Bogura seat, a seat that is historically belonging to that family, the Zia family as well. So we understand that Begum Khaleda Zia, the three-time Prime Minister of Bangladesh, is in ailing condition, one of those catalysts that included the return of Mr. Tariq Rahman, including his family, his daughters, and Ms. Zaima Rahman, as well as Zubaida Rahman, his wife, who is, of course, a cardiologist. And of course, we can see how their entire family has huge contributions to the society here in Bangladesh. And at this moment, the armed forces of the three different catalogs are, of course, trying to give protection to Mr. Tariq Rahman before coming to the stage. I will be trying to connect our reporter, Mr. Shahriar Zaman Deep, who shall be giving us a commentary coming in from the station over there, as millions of people are cheering and waiting for the leader to arrive. However, I might be running out of time as recent, but there are huge implications that are going on. There millions of people are seen crowded at the 300 feet area, and of course this is one of the first events that have happened in that specific location. I know that there are certain aspects of societal gathering which does include traffic and congestion in the city, but we can ignore this congestion because we have not seen such a political spectacle in the last 18 years, the arrival of a leader who has been exiled for 18 years. So of course we understand how and why, under what circumstances he was blamed by the last regime, the autocrat and fascist regime had made sure that he would not be able to see his mother in the last 18 years. And of course, every now and then the ousted Prime Minister would make such remarks that she would throw away Begum Khaleda Zia from the bridge of Padda. So of course, all of these rhetorics, all of these comments are of course retaliatory between the two regimes, between the two parties, which has ripped through Bangladesh and Bangladesh's political future. As far as I understand, millions of people are waiting to see what Mr. Tariq Rahman says in his speech. We know that no one else will be taking the stage and no one else will be addressing the nation. So this is quite so important. And of course, this is a leader who is ready to lead Bangladesh. I say that because as soon as he had landed in Dhaka, he had expressed his gratitude to the current chief advisor of the Bangladesh government, Professor Muhammad Yunus, who is of course a Nobel laureate, and even he himself had met Mr. Tariq Rahman earlier on this year in his foreign travels. So once again, today is a spectacle for Bangladeshi people to see. It's also a public holiday. So given the situation, we both understand that the both situations are supporting one another. I know we see that millions of people are waving towards the camera, towards the big screens, in a bid to show their support towards Bangladesh Nationalist Party, who is contesting in the upcoming elections alongside Popular Party's National Citizen Party, which had given birth ever since July 2024, as well as Islamic political parties, the Jamaat-e-Islami, who is also contesting in the upcoming polls. However, we must understand whether this upcoming national election will be a democratically formed government, whether or not people will be counting the votes, why and we haven't developed such an infrastructure to understand voting not only on ballot sheets or on ballot papers, but how we can include those who live abroad or nationalists or of Bangladesh and or people of Bangladesh who live abroad, the immigration that they've done, the immigrant population of Bangladesh that not only resides in United Kingdom but across the globe, how they are going to take participation in the upcoming election is a matter of question. But at this moment, we are seeing the preparations of the security forces in order to create a situation where Mr. Tariq Rahman shall be delivering his speech. But I believe that international affairs is coming to a close. But exactly at 3 p.m. today, sharp at 3 p.m., a special bulletin will be taking place, and it will be held in the language of our nation, Bangla. And I know that today is a very important day, and for me it has been a challenge to host this entire program on my own, as well as Norman Flood Burns, who joined us through Zoom. I understand it's a historical day. I want to wish all our viewers, all from around the globe and as well as home, a very Merry Christmas to those who celebrated, and a warm welcome home to Mr. Tariq Rahman and his family. Ladies and gentlemen, that is it for today. I wish that you all will stay tuned for this upcoming historic speech by Mr. Tariq Rahman. And that is it. Goodbye.